We have only 35 chambers. There is no 36.
I know that. But I want to create a new chamber.
And what would that be?
I think Shaolin techniques should be available to all. So then, that's my idea for a new chamber. To teach the martial arts to the people. Anybody.
All right, welcome back to another episode of My Three Cents. All right, so before I get started on this episode, I want to say thank you to all the listeners and supporters. I want to do it before I get started instead of doing it at the end like I normally do it. So I appreciate y'all for listening. Thank you. It does help. I am constantly working on the equipment and the channel. And, I don't really advertise this because it's just something personal that I do for whoever's listening, right? And I do appreciate those of you that pass it along. You get something from it. You give it to somebody. That's more organic. So thank you again. I appreciate that. So going into today's episode, what I'm going to talk about is the change, the shift that's happening. And I want to make sure that you don't ignore the bigger picture. Right now, there's so many things going on. People are caught up with everything. You don't know what to be afraid of, what to look into. We got cryptocurrency happening. That's mysterious to a lot of people because a lot of people haven't even started investing yet. You've been hearing about Robinhood, stocks. You've been seeing the government talk about inflation. You know that the pandemic is happening. So it's a lot going on. I always talk about stocks because I pay attention to the market. And the only reason I watch the news is because to people that invest in the market, the news is having another conversation. For those of you that just watch the news for information, the news is having a simpler conversation. It's more so based on fear and surface information. All right? Things that are left up to interpretation by you, but given to you in a way that we're kind of telling you how to feel. All right? So we know that there's tricks and things that they do with the information. And that is what I'm talking about today is the fact that there's so much out there. It's hard for some people to zoom out and see the larger thing that's happening. Now, I just had this idea to talk about this today, and I said, "Yeah, I'm gonna do an episode on the shift, and not ignoring the shift." So when you look closely at everything, let's look at things separately, right? Let's look at health. Let's just take that for an example right off top. Things are changing that have never happened before, right? We have new types of vaccines, the mRNA vaccines. We have all these new technologies, okay? That's just one example in the medical field. That's a huge example because it deals with genetics. And it deals with a lot of the medicine that I feel like they're going to be putting out from here on out is going to have some type of involvement with different technologies and, all kind of stuff moving forward. Also, let me mention, because I do talk about the pandemic a lot, some would say, because it's a lot being said and it's a lot going on, and I don't want y'all to be tricked and not have an opportunity to think some different ways about this whole thing, okay? So I did just hear this morning that 100, and I guess it just happened to be 100, right? Because we know these things are done by the numbers and some type of power play, energetic thing that people like to do. That's just how it is, right? So supposedly 100 kids were given adult size vaccines. Were given adult vaccines. So this was in Virginia. So I guess we'll see what happens from that because this just became another part of an experiment, right? They were able to do this with the kids so that we can all see. And I feel like if it's something that doesn't play out too bad publicly, then they'll use it as fuel, okay? So, moving on. So, we talked about the medical example, okay? So, let's talk about money. That's the good one. So, in the last couple of years with the pandemic, everybody's been investing. People have been on Robinhood that's never heard of investing. People have lost their money. People have listened to other people, made investments, haven't seen returns yet, wondering what's going on, still haven't educated themselves, right? So, if you're any of those, you got to realize that right now there's things going on that you are very far away from. Things such as NFTs, cryptocurrencies, blockchain. These are words that if you start to look into them, you will see the connection very clearly. If you know about these things, then you might be on the cutting edge, right? But there's a lot out there. This is a part of the bigger picture of what's happening. So the first thing I want to say too is, years ago, when the internet was kind of new, there was dial-up modem, right? It made all those sounds. It was just frequencies and things to try to communicate, right? This is technology. We didn't really know what the internet was going to be because we didn't have any kind of pre-knowledge, right? Where could we have gotten that information? There was no internet, right? You would have had to go and pick up an encyclopedia or some kind of news source to try to hear something new that you may not have known about. It was kind of tough. So now, having the internet, you got to understand, when we didn't know about it back then and people were investing and people were telling people about it, and people were like, it's probably a phase. It's a fad. It's too complicated. Whatever you want to say. Bottom line is this. We know what it has become. This was a change in what we call the internet, which was some type of information system that ended up changing the way we shop, everything, because of what it encompassed, right? So it's one thing, but it touches so many things. It's pretty much everything. Kind of like money, right? So we didn't have the opportunity to get in on investing with the internet. Right now, the medical field's changing. The money's changing. The money's going into cryptocurrency. What is all this? Things are going into a technology that I can't understand, right? Simple people are worried about vaccines and viruses while they have you distracted. There's a lot of people making a lot of money, real time, because of the knowledge of what they are investing in and recognizing. So today, what I'm going to do today is drop a couple of gems on you. I'm going to give you some things to go look up. And that way, if you educate yourself properly, you should be able to make some money. This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. But I do have a knack for looking at charts, looking at patterns, taking in data, and then seeing some kind of outcome. So you got to know that even if you're uneducated in the stock market and you think all this stuff is too complicated for you, guess what? You might be the perfect one to get involved with this because of your innate abilities. You might be the perfect one to learn about the stock market because you have some type of intuition that works well with systems that have to, you see, you got to understand, these things have to calculate, right? These things have to equate. They have to make sense, these numbers, these calculations. So if you're somebody that is, that has these different abilities by nature, you're intuitive, look into the stock market. Look into the stock market. So what I'm saying is this. We have all these things changing. Right now, the internet is in full swing. We missed the boat on that. What's next? The money is changing. Why? It has to do with the internet. Again. So I know a lot of y'all have heard because you have Facebook. I don't have Facebook. My business has a Facebook, but I don't personally have a Facebook. But I know a lot of you have heard that the name has changed or is changing to Meta. You probably still are wondering, what is the metaverse? You see, a lot of y'all parents got on your kids for playing video games. And a lot of you parents bought your kids little points, little cards, little money for video games, stuff they're spending in the game. So what you got to understand is while you were trying to get them off the game, they were doing the cutting edge next thing. And if you would have paid more attention, you could have got in on the ground floor. Because guess what? Those Robux, those Minecraft points, that real life money that is being transitioned into some type of video game currency for outfits and for things in the game is now a thing. Yeah. NFTs, NFT universes, worlds. This is crazy. So what's happening now is you can purchase things in an environment that is not this one. So this is also a spiritual, energetic thing that's happening. Because remember, Ethereum and these different coins, what is the ether? It's the fifth element. So we got to understand the knowledge behind this stuff and why we should get involved because of the severity of the movement. The shift. You don't want to miss out on it. You don't want to keep hearing about this years later and figure out, you say, well, man, I could have got my family some type of generational wealth if I would have seen this stuff. If I would have looked into it, I heard about it 100 times. So what's happening now is the same way that the kids were playing the video games, they were cutting the game on, right? Going into the game. Now, within the game is, let's say, the game verse, whatever game they're playing, right? Now, the money that they're spending in that game, the things that they own exist in that game. So other people that play that game can see them and say, that with their avatar, right? Because that's what it's called, the avatar. The representation of you in the game is the avatar. So another person in the game, their avatar, representing them, they see you, your avatar, representing you. You see what I'm getting at? And now your digital, follow me. This almost sounds buffoonish, but it is real. Your digital self is now being looked at. And if you can acquire some things for it, it is valuable. Now, how does this really work? It's not just a fashion show. When you acquire these things in this metaverse, in this real life game that they are building, you see, the same way we understand that there is an unseen, they are building it. You see, they are building the artificial unseen. You know man has to do that. So within that, they're going to have everyone that was on Facebook now in the metaverse. You'll have an avatar. And it won't be a big deal to you. Say, oh, okay. This is just, But little do you know, people are making mega money. There will be in-game purchases. I'm going to talk to you about that in a minute, just as far as the coins that will back these different things and how to look into that. Because remember, this is about money. So just like when the kids were playing the game, that was using U.S. currency to exchange for video game currency to purchase video game things, right? So those things only held the value of whatever abilities they came with in the game. Now, what we're doing, what they have done, is giving these things value that is real value because the value is backed by a type of coin or cryptocurrency. You see? So they're backing these things with value, with money, digital money. And all of us that are in the same world or system, right, all agree and hold the value of the money. There's nothing to hide. It's decentralized. So this is why everything is kind of shifting, because money is mysterious. It's so digital that we don't know who has it, who doesn't have it. They already tried to transition everything into cards a long time ago, right? That didn't really work. Cash is still around. You keep hearing about cash going out of existence at some point. Well, that's what's happening now. You've been hearing about it. So with this transition of the money going into the ether, right? You have people building massive amounts of money and great wealth for their families, for everything they got going on, simply because they're investing in the coins, the cryptocurrency that is backing all these new things that's going on. The NFT is the digital art. Okay? So they have expanded now from digital art into digital worlds where you can buy digital land. Do you hear me? You can buy actual land. You got celebrities like Snoop Dogg. You got businesses. All kinds of people are purchasing land in the unseen. So for more info about that, you can look into a game called Sandbox. This is one of the largest virtual world games, right? Where everyone is now investing. How do you invest in a game? By investing in the coin, right? You can get membership and play the game, but that would take you looking into how to get the coin, how to get a wallet to keep your cryptocurrency in, because this stuff has to be secured. And once you start looking into it, you'll see more how to do it. It's not, I'm sure you know somebody that's messing with cryptocurrency. You need to talk to them and ask them, go back to them and say, hey, what were you talking about? What's going on with these crypto worlds? How do I buy crypto land? How do I buy land? I'm telling you now, Sandbox. The coin is called Sand. It's a cryptocurrency, SAND. You can look this up. And this, in my opinion, and this is not financial advice, but in my opinion, SAND is going to make a lot of money going forward. Okay? Facebook just took its, who knows how many billions it's worth, dollar industry, and pretty much just flipped it into the ether because they want to become the first multiverse that's bigger than the other multiworlds, right? These multiverses. And he has a vision for all these multiverses to be able to be visited within the great multiverse. You got to understand what they're trying to do. You're going to be sitting at home with glasses, seeing everybody. And to some people that might sound great, but you got to understand they're taking you out the game. They're taking you out the game of life because they're changing the game. Now, you can choose to play the game how you want, but be aware of the great shift that's happening. Just like when the internet came. You didn't know about the internet. We went along with it. Look what it has evolved into. You knew nothing about investing. Now is the time to learn. This is the next great shift. This is the new internet. You see what's happening? This is the next internet. It's going into virtual space. This will be the new way that they do everything. You heard it here. This may be the first place a lot of y'all heard it. So Sandbox, Sand is the coin. I'm gonna have to get my crypto list out and just do another episode and just give you guys the coins that I think, in my opinion, will be some money makers. We already know Ethereum. We already know Bitcoin. These are things you need to get and keep buying it. Stop looking at the price. Don't worry about it. Just buy it. If you don't know what NFTs are, then that's why you wouldn't see the value in Ethereum. For those of you that know about Ethereum, what's the problem with Ethereum? Well, the problem is the fees, what they call the gas fees. That's the problem with Ethereum. Once they solve that, Ethereum will continue to skyrocket because it's connected to too many networks that deal in NFTs. And too many NFTs are backed by Ethereum blockchain. So you got to understand what this stuff means. Go look it up. I'm telling you. These are simple money makers. You got coins worth less than a cent. Coins worth a penny right now. That are some money makers. But again, this is not financial advice. Don't blame your mishaps with your money on me. You know, you got to understand how this stuff works and do your own research. There's coins like XRP. There's MobiPay, MBX. There's a lot of things that are very valuable to look into right now. So my advice would be to look into the metaverse, right? That is the term. Go online. Start looking up the term metaverse. Look up something like, how can I invest in the metaverse? Or buying land in the metaverse. You'll see places like Sandbox pop up. You'll see another name, I think it's Lithuanium, or it's another name anyways, that's something like that. Levilium, something like that. But you'll see it because there's only a few very large and popular virtual universes, right? And the one that I lean towards is Sandbox because that's the one that all the investors, all the businesses are investing in, all the celebrities are investing in. It's the one where the land is selling out. And you wouldn't believe how pixels in the game, I mean a 1x1, a 1x2 pixel might run you $13,000. Oh yeah, I just said that. $13,000. So listen to me when I say this. If you have money sitting around, if you have money that you have saved, that you wanted to save for later, you need to invest this money. Letting the money sit or sit in a bank is doing you no good. And what do you think the bank is doing? They're investing with your money until you come asking for it. That's why you got to fill out so many forms to take all your money out, right? So, again, they are buying real estate. My suggestion was this, and this was just my idea, right? The same way people feel like they have missed out on the real life real estate market and everybody wants to be involved with it, but all the land seems to be expensive or bought up or the game is saturated. This is a joinable game right now. If you're able to get some groups of people together that have money, that have a few dollars, pull your money together, start buying plots of virtual land. Well, what do you do on this virtual land? It's just like real life land. That's the thing. It's just like real life land. When you look into this and see these maps, you're going to be astonished because it's about location, just like real life. If you're located near these businesses and where Snoop's property and different people's property is, this stuff is insane. And people are paying thousands and thousands of dollars. And guess what? It did not cost that much a few months ago. So the value is going through the roof. And if you don't understand what the value is going to do from here, you have no business investing in anything. Don't even worry about it, right? So, like I always say, education first. But this metaverse thing, you got to know this is the next internet. So this would be the most lucrative way to look at it as the next internet. When you hear people talking about it, listen. When you see videos pop up on your timeline about it, watch them. Educate yourself. Find out what coins, this is very key. Listen, I'm going to give you a second to get your pen. I'm going to say this again. Find out what coin is backing what project. That is very important. When you see these great crypto projects, these great metaverse projects like Facebook, wink, wink, when you see them transitioning into something called the meta, and they're going to be a metaverse, hey, I would think the smart thing to do would be to find out what coin, what cryptocurrency coin he is going to use to back the meta. And I would invest in it because obviously it's going to make a lot of money or go up from where it is. Do your research on the cycles of the individual coins. Pay attention to things like Catalyst, which is just news, connections, partnerships, patterns of the past. Pay attention to these things because projects right now is a big thing, very big. So remember, these are the key phrases: NFTs, metaverse, blockchain, cryptocurrency, wallet. You have to have a cryptocurrency wallet. If you don't know what these things are, you got to at least know what those things are, okay? If you can figure those out, then start looking into the investing aspect of the metaverse and the different coins that will back these different projects, okay? So, one of the biggest projects to date, to recap, is Sandbox. It's one of the biggest metaverse projects out. And again, a lot of celebrities backing it, a lot of buzz about it. I look at the coins all the time. The coin is looking very bullish to me. SAND is looking very bullish. And yeah, I would say look into that and look into buying land in that metaverse. It will gain value at some point, right? And just to give you an example of how they're thinking about this, Mark Zuckerberg says how he imagines this turning out is the same way people want to go to France or go to New York or LA and you have to travel and do all that. Well, this will be simpler because you'll be able to go into these virtual spaces and pretty much teleport. So you got to kind of see how they're thinking about this technology. You'll be able to go into a private space with someone. Again, you're not physically there, so I don't know how real, it's an idea anyway, and it is something that they're going forward with. And there will be a lot of things like meeting spaces, buying the land. People are putting their buying land and putting malls on the land. I saw a business that made a purchase of almost $1 million worth of land, and they built a gigantic mall on it. And so now they're selling stores and business space to other people that want to sell things in the metaverse and can't buy property. Now they can rent in his mall. So these are examples of what people are doing. You can become your own business owner, land owner at home on your computer. I am encouraging you, please look this stuff up. If you don't know about cryptocurrency, speak to somebody that does. Ask questions, go online, do whatever you got to do, and start putting money aside. Don't fall for the early Black Friday scarcity of gifts. Don't fall for all that because they want to see how much money people are willing to spend, and they want to also get you away from these investments that are happening right now, real time, as they are pushing these sales right in your face. So understand what's happening. And I just wanted to do this episode based on the great shift. And I just wanted to remind you or mention to you that this is the new internet. Just think of it that way and understand that they are planning to do things so large with the money and, into the unseen and these worlds that it might be smart to start back playing the game with your kid. Talk to your kid about Minecraft. You better figure this stuff out. Roblox is another hot stock that will definitely make more money because why? Roblox is also one of the largest metaverses that exists. You see, you didn't even know that Roblox, the game your kids are playing, was one of the first metaverses created, and it is one of the most successful metaverses created. That's why they keep asking you for money to buy Robux. And in the game, their character is stunting and blinging and shining and looking all nice with their outfits and got all kind of stuff, right? That gives them status in the game, gives the kid dopamine, and this whole thing just happens all over again. So we know how the internet game is played, but this is to a new degree. So I just want to emphasize, man, look into these investments, educate yourself. Don't miss this money, because what I feel like is happening, even on a spiritual plane, is that this is just the snake eating its own tail. This is the cycle coming back around. It's clicking right where it clicked before, but one click further back, right? And this last click was the internet, right? The introduction. This is the reintroduction. Allow me to reintroduce myself. That's what the internet doing right now. So please look into it and get this crypto money. Don't be scared of investing. Don't think you're going to lose. You only lose when you sell, right? Remember that. You always own what you own until you sell it. Things that cycle down always cycle up. Things that go up never keep going up. They always cycle back around. Don't get scared. That's why it pays to be educated, right? Everything moves in cycles. So learn the cycles of the things that you find. Find a great jumping in point, stick to it, jump in, give yourself a get out point and say, this is how much money, if it gets here, I'm willing to jump out, and then jump out. Because you never went broke taking your profit. Remember that. So this is a short one. Kind of just wanted to touch on something I was thinking about. And yeah, I appreciate you guys once again. Repeat listeners, return listeners, first time listeners. I encourage you to listen to the other episodes because, again, like I always say, I talk about a lot of different things, but they're all related. And if anyone has heard all of these episodes, then your mind must be ready to do something brand new that it's never done before. I guarantee you. Because this is a lot of information that if you can put this together and make this make sense to you, if you can make this make sense to you, right? This is what I'm doing with this podcast. If you can make this all make sense to you some kind of way, you might get somewhere. So remember, you only get one life. You can't live it twice. And don't be afraid to ask questions and do something different, right? So, and I got to take my own advice on that too a lot of times. So don't think I'm exempt from what I'm saying. Trust me, I'm talking to myself. So yeah, I appreciate you once again. And I'll leave my email in the description. And yeah, thank you. Thank you for your time, wholeness, and gratitude.